Most people think dominance is about speaking louder, moving faster, or proving superiority. That belief already makes them weak. True dominance begins long before words are spoken. It begins in the mind that is trained, still, and precise. Silence is uncomfortable for most people. When words stop, their mind starts racing. They feel the urge to fill the gap, to explain, to defend, to impress. This is not confidence, it is insecurity revealing itself. The one who understands silence does not fear it. They use it. Silence is not the absence of power, it is the presence of control. When you remain silent, you create space. In that space, others project their thoughts and emotions. They speak more than they should. They reveal intentions they planned to hide. They expose doubts, ego, and urgency through unnecessary words. You do not need to interrogate or confront. Simply listening without interruption gives you information that no aggressive tactic ever could. Most people believe influence comes from speaking first and speaking often. In reality, the one who speaks first often gives away leverage. They show their position, their expectations, their emotional state. Silence keeps your position hidden. When others cannot read you, they become cautious. Uncertainty makes people adjust their behavior, often in your favor. Silence also slows down the interaction. It disrupts emotional momentum. Anger, manipulation, and pressure depend on speed. When you pause, when you allow silence to stretch, emotional intensity weakens. The other person either calms down or loses control. In both cases, you gain clarity while they lose balance. A silent presence commands attention. Not because it demands it, but because it does not seek it. People are drawn to what is restrained. Loud behavior is easy to ignore. Quiet certainty is difficult to dismiss. When you speak only when necessary, your words carry weight. People listen differently because they know you are not wasting breath. Silence is also a mirror. People hear themselves more clearly when you do not interrupt. They recognize contradictions in their own statements. They feel exposed by their own voice, echoing in the space you refuse to fill. This creates psychological pressure without aggression. You remain calm while they do the work for you. In moments of conflict, silence becomes even more powerful. Reacting immediately ties you to emotion. Waiting separates you from it. The pause allows you to choose response over reaction. While others are driven by impulse, you move with intention. This shift alone places you in a position of dominance. Silence requires discipline. It demands that you control the urge to prove yourself. The need to explain, justify, or defend is a weakness disguised as communication. When you let go of that need, you no longer seek validation from others. This internal independence changes how people treat you. The strongest minds are not noisy. They are precise. They observe patterns, not just words. They understand timing. Silence sharpens awareness. When you listen deeply, you hear what is said and what is avoided. You notice hesitation, speed, tone, and body language. These signals reveal far more than spoken claims. Those who master silence do not rush to be understood. They understand first. And in understanding, they gain control without ever announcing it. Emotions are powerful forces. When they are uncontrolled, they act like open doors through which others can enter your mind. Anyone who can trigger anger, fear, pride, or insecurity in you gains influence over your decisions. This is why emotional control is not a soft skill. It is a strategic one. Before you attempt to understand others, you must first command your own inner state. Most people believe emotions happen to them. They identify with every feeling as if it were their true self. A sharp comment creates anger. A challenge creates defensiveness. A compliment creates attachment. In this way, their behavior is predictable. When someone knows which emotion to touch, they know which direction you will move. Predictability is weakness. The disciplined mind creates distance between stimulus and response. An emotion may arise, but it is observed rather than obeyed. This small space changes everything. In that pause, you regain choice. You can decide whether the emotion deserves action or should simply pass. The moment you stop reacting automatically, external control disappears. Anger is the easiest emotion to exploit. It narrows perception and accelerates speech. People reveal their plans, exaggerate their position, and make promises they cannot keep. When you remain calm while others are emotional, you see clearly while they see nothing but their own impulse. Calmness is not passivity. It is clarity under pressure. Fear operates more subtly. It pushes people to seek approval, rush decisions, or avoid necessary confrontation. When fear is unexamined, it shapes behavior from the shadows. By facing fear internally, without judgment, you weaken its grip. A person who is not ruled by fear cannot be manipulated by threats or pressure. Pride and ego are equally dangerous. The need to be right, respected, or admired makes people defend positions that no longer serve them. They argue not to find truth, but to protect identity. When you release attachment to ego, criticism loses its power. Insults fall flat. Provocations fail. Others quickly realize they cannot move you. Emotional control does not mean suppression. Suppressed emotions return stronger and more chaotic. Control means awareness without indulgence. You feel fully, but you act selectively. This balance creates stability. People sense it. They test you less because they receive no emotional reward for doing so. In negotiations, conflicts, or everyday conversations, the emotionally disciplined person sets the tone. Others unconsciously mirror their calm or become unsettled by it. Either way, the advantage remains with the one who is steady. Stability becomes authority without a single command being spoken. When you control your emotions, you stop seeking victory through reaction. You stop fighting every battle. This conserves energy and sharpens judgment. Over time, people recognize that emotional tactics do not work on you. At that point, influence shifts naturally into your hands. Speed is often mistaken for intelligence. Quick answers, fast decisions, immediate reactions, these are praised as confidence. In reality, haste is usually a response to inner pressure. When the mind feels threatened, it rushes to escape discomfort. Slowing down is not weakness. It is the refusal to be pushed by fear, urgency, or expectation. Most people move fast because they are afraid of silence, judgment, or missing out. This fear clouds perception. When actions are rushed, details are overlooked, patterns are missed, and consequences are ignored. The person who slows down sees more, not less. They allow situations to unfold before stepping in, gathering information while others exhaust themselves. In conversations, speed reveals insecurity. Fast speech often hides uncertainty or the need to dominate. Slowing your pace, speaking deliberately, pausing before responding, changes the dynamic instantly. It forces others to adjust to you. Your calm rhythm becomes the reference point, and anyone moving faster appears unstable by comparison. Pressure depends on time. Deadlines, ultimatums, and emotional urgency are tools used to force decisions before clarity can form. When you slow down internally, these tools lose effectiveness. You recognize artificial urgency for what it is, a tactic. By refusing to rush, you regain control of the situation without confrontation. Slowness also creates precision. Every movement, word, and decision becomes intentional. Instead of reacting to surface-level events, you respond to underlying causes. This depth of action produces better outcomes with less effort. While others are busy fixing mistakes created by speed, you progress steadily with fewer corrections. Emotionally, slowing down weakens impulsive behavior. Anger fades when not immediately expressed. Anxiety loses momentum when not fed by action. Desire becomes manageable when not instantly gratified. Time creates distance, and distance creates clarity. With clarity, choices improve. In conflict, a slow response unsettles aggressive behavior. Aggression relies on momentum. When you refuse to match speed, you disrupt that momentum. The other person either escalates and exposes themselves or slows down and becomes reasonable. In both cases, your position strengthens. Slowing down does not mean delaying indefinitely. It means acting at the right moment, not the fastest one. Timing is power. A well-timed word carries more weight than 100 rushed ones. A single measured action can outweigh a series of impulsive moves. A calm pace signals inner stability. People trust those who are not hurried. They sense confidence in someone who is not trying to outrun uncertainty. Over time, your steady presence becomes associated with reliability and authority. Those who slow down are rarely outpaced. While others burn energy chasing immediacy, you conserve strength and direction. The path becomes clearer, decisions cleaner, and outcomes more controlled. In a world addicted to speed, patience becomes a decisive advantage. Most people listen only to respond. Their attention is divided between what the other person is saying and what they plan to say next. In this state, true understanding never happens. Words are heard, but meaning is missed. To outsmart anyone, you must listen beyond language. What is not said often carries more weight than what is spoken. Every person communicates on multiple levels at once. Words are only the surface. Beneath them lie tone, rhythm, hesitation, and emphasis. A confident statement delivered with tension reveals doubt. A calm sentence spoken too quickly reveals urgency. When you train yourself to notice these signals, conversations become transparent. Behavior always reveals intention. People may claim certainty while avoiding eye contact. They may express openness while physically closing themselves off. They may speak about collaboration while subtly asserting control. These contradictions expose inner conflict. When you observe without reacting, these patterns become obvious. Timing is another form of communication. How quickly someone responds when they interrupt or when they suddenly become silent all provide information. Speed can signal nervousness or eagerness. Delay can indicate calculation or resistance. Silence at specific moments often reveals discomfort. Each of these cues gives insight into motivation. Listening beyond words also means recognizing emotional undercurrents. Anger may mask fear. Confidence may mask insecurity. Humor may hide avoidance. When you identify the emotion beneath the message, you understand the real conversation taking place. This allows you to respond to the cause rather than the surface behavior. Most people try to control conversations by dominating them. The disciplined listener controls conversations by guiding them. A well-timed question, a pause, or a simple acknowledgement can redirect dialogue more effectively than argument, because you understand what truly matters to the other person. You can influence direction without resistance. When you listen deeply, people feel seen without knowing why. This lowers defenses. They speak more freely, often revealing personal motivations, doubts, and limits. They believe they are in control because they are talking, unaware that they are giving you clarity and advantage. Listening requires restraint. The urge to interrupt, correct, or impress must be controlled. Each interruption shifts focus away from observation and back toward ego. By remaining quiet and attentive, you stay in a position of information gathering while others remain exposed. Over time, this skill sharpens intuition. Patterns repeat across different people and situations. You begin to predict behavior before it happens. This foresight is not luck, it is trained awareness. When you know what others want and fear, their actions become predictable. Those who listen beyond words do not rely on assumptions. They rely on signals. In every interaction, they gather insight while revealing nothing unnecessary. This quiet awareness creates an advantage that cannot be challenged openly because it is never announced. Dominance that depends on force, status, or intimidation is fragile. It exists only as long as others allow it. The moment circumstances change, it collapses. True dominance is internal. It comes from self-mastery, and because it is rooted within, it cannot be taken away. When a person governs their own mind behavior and impulses, influence arises naturally. Self-mastery begins with awareness. You recognize your habits, triggers, and weaknesses without denial. Most people avoid this step because it is uncomfortable. They prefer to believe they are already in control. But avoidance creates blind spots, and blind spots create vulnerability. The one who sees themselves clearly removes this vulnerability at the source. Discipline transforms awareness into strength. Thoughts are not allowed to wander unchecked. Actions are not chosen based on comfort or impulse. Every decision aligns with long-term direction rather than short-term emotion. This consistency builds inner stability. Others may fluctuate, but you remain steady. A self-mastered person does not seek approval. Validation from others becomes irrelevant because self-respect is already established. This independence changes the power dynamic in every interaction. People sense when they cannot control you through praise or criticism. As a result, manipulation attempts weaken or stop entirely. Confidence born from self-mastery is quiet. It does not announce itself or compete for attention. It shows in posture, pace, and restraint. You do not need to dominate conversations or assert superiority. Your presence alone sets boundaries. Others adjust instinctively, often without understanding why. Natural dominance also comes from reliability. When your words match your actions, trust forms. When your reactions are measured, respect grows. Over time, people look to you during uncertainty because you do not amplify chaos. Stability attracts influence the way imbalance attracts correction. Self-mastery removes the need to control others. This paradox creates greater influence. Because you are not trying to dominate, resistance fades. People cooperate more readily when they do not feel threatened. Authority becomes something granted, not forced. Challenges do not break a self-mastered person, they refine them. Failure is examined, not personalized. Success is acknowledged, not idolized. This balanced relationship with outcomes prevents arrogance and despair alike. Others, trapped between pride and insecurity, remain predictable. When you master yourself, dominance becomes effortless. You no longer react to provocation, rush under pressure, or compromise values for convenience. This consistency builds an inner structure that others feel immediately. Those who achieve self-mastery do not overpower the world. They align with it. And in that alignment, influence follows without demand, command, or display. Information is power, but uncontrolled information is a liability. Most people reveal too much about their plans, emotions, intentions, and weaknesses without being asked. They speak to feel connected, to feel important, or to feel relieved. In doing so, they hand others the tools needed to influence, predict, or undermine them. The disciplined individual understands that what you reveal should always be intentional. When you share everything freely, you remove mystery. Mystery creates space for respect and caution. When people know exactly what you think, want, or fear, they adjust their behavior accordingly, often in ways that do not serve you. By controlling what you reveal, you control how others perceive and approach you. This does not mean becoming secretive or deceptive. It means being selective. Not every thought needs expression. Not every emotion needs explanation. Not every plan needs an audience. The more important something is, the fewer people should know about it. Silence around your intentions protects them from interference, judgment, and premature resistance. People often mistake openness for honesty. True honesty is alignment between inner values and outward action, not constant disclosure. Oversharing usually comes from emotional need, not integrity. When you speak only what is necessary, your words gain precision and credibility. People listen more closely because they know you do not speak carelessly. Controlling what you reveal also protects you emotionally. When others know your insecurities, they may use them consciously or unconsciously. When they know your desires, they may manipulate expectations. When they know your limits, they may test them. Privacy creates psychological armor without hostility. In conversations, this control shifts power subtly. When you answer without over-explaining, when you acknowledge without confessing, when you remain calm without justification, others must work harder to understand you. This effort places them in a reactive position, while you remain centered. Many people talk to release tension. The disciplined person learns to sit with tension instead. This builds inner strength. You no longer depend on external validation or emotional dumping to feel stable. Your stability becomes internal, not negotiated through conversation. Strategic restraint also improves timing. Revealing information too early weakens its impact. Revealing it too late makes it irrelevant. Knowing when to speak is as important as knowing what to say. Timing turns simple words into decisive ones. As you practice restraint, people begin to treat you differently. They become more careful with their words. They ask more questions. They assume less. This shift is not forced. It emerges naturally when your presence signals depth and self-control. Those who control what they reveal are difficult to manipulate because there is little to grasp. Their inner world is protected, their direction clear, and their actions measured. In a world where most people expose themselves constantly, restraint becomes a powerful advantage. Dominance is not something you take from others. It is something you develop within yourself. The moment you stop trying to overpower, impress, or outmaneuver people through force, you begin to operate on a higher level. Silence sharpens your awareness. Emotional control protects your freedom. Slowing down gives you clarity. Deep listening reveals truth. And self-mastery turns all of these into quiet authority. When these principles come together, you no longer rely on tactics. You rely on presence. You move through situations calmly while others struggle against their own impulses. You are not reactive, not predictable, not easily influenced. People feel your stability before they understand it, and they respect it without being asked to. Outsmarting others is never about defeating them. It is about becoming so grounded, disciplined, and aware that manipulation fails, pressure dissolves, and chaos cannot touch you. When you master yourself, dominance is no longer something you seek. It is simply who you are.